Andy, people want to know, is Blue Therapy fake?
All I'm gonna say is this, yeah. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Because me personally.
No comment.
Personally, I don't know why. I don't see why that's important. And I was actually like surprised to see everyone asking that question. Is it real or fake? And I was just like, what? I don't get it. Like, I didn't expect that question.
Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in and clicking on this video. It's the latest on trend with your girl Biami.
Big up yourself.
Who is keeping up with Blue Therapy? Because Paul is out here doing all of these interviews and he is making us keep up with the show, even though the show is finished, it's done, it's dusted. He is keeping us interested, right? Like, he's doing the interview and he's just recently done an interview with GRM Daily, the Alan and the Poet show, and it was a really good interview. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Paul is literally grown on me. I'm gonna be honest with you, aside from the character and what he played up to, etc., like, I just find him very entertaining. I feel like he carried the show. I feel like he made the show entertaining. I feel like even though the show is finished, Blue Therapy is expected to bring a season 2, and with Paul doing these interviews, talking about it, it's keeping the show alive. Because I don't know what the other castmates are doing, but they're not really talking about it anymore. Like, they're just kind of trying to get deals out of it, or they're just trying to work somehow on the DL. But Paul is out there and he's keeping us talking about Blue Therapy. One of the most famous questions that we'll ask is what I played in the beginning of the video, which was an interview that Andy did where he was asked the question once again, and that was his response. Paul came out and, you know, first he done the video that I showed you guys where he basically exposed Blue Therapy and how this was his first acting gig and how it was all fake, and he spoke about his on-screen girlfriend. There was the whole Zoom rehearsal video that was leaked, and then obviously he's just done this interview on GRM Daily. The one thing that was a little bit confused, if you guys haven't watched it, you guys go ahead and watch it because it will give you a little bit more context and understanding as to what I'm talking about. But during the episode, he was obviously asked how this came about, and he was basically saying that, you know, Andy is his guy. Like, him and Andy are cool, they're friends, and he actually did the Trend Central website, and he is actually legitimately a web designer. He creates websites and he is a PT. He did do a video on his story one time. It was like a motivational video, but it was from a PT's perspective, so I can definitely believe that. Now, when he was asked how this come about, he was basically saying that Andy was his guy. He was working on the website. They were at the table, and Andy was like, yo, I've got this idea. I want to, you know, do this social experiment, and I want you to play this character. Then he went into breaking down this character idea that he wanted him to play. The only thing that was a little bit confused, if you watch that interview and you watch the interview that Andy did, Andy basically said that it first started with Chioma, then it evolved into her partner, and then Jamal and Deborah. So I don't know, I feel like there needs to be a little bit of clarity there, but that's just me trying to understand, you know, what's going on, because I'm quite interested behind the scenes and the production aspect of things. I do not believe that this is real, and nor do I care whether it's real or not. But since it's a conversation, it's an everyday conversation, then I'm going to keep having the conversation here on my platform because everybody's still talking about it, hence why I'm still talking about it. I know you didn't expect to see me in the middle of this video. This is just a quick break from the video. Have you subscribed to the channel? If you haven't, make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you are new. It's all good vibes and notification gang. Thank you so much for all of your support. Enjoy the rest of the video. I really feel concerned about Paul's relationship with Andy. I feel like he might have put his relationship with Andy at risk. During the interview, he was saying how Andy is his boy, because he was asked, he was like, well, no one else has come out and said this. Everybody else is still kind of playing along. apart from you. And obviously, if Andy's your boy, then surely, like, you kind of wouldn't do that to him. And then from his point of view, he was like, oh, nah, not really, because there was no contract signed, there was no disclaimer signed. So I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong by talking about this. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, well, if Andy was your boy, then wouldn't you have spoken to him to be like, rah, so people are actually thinking this is real. Like, do you want people to know this is real? Or are you bothered about people knowing this is real? How would you feel about, me doing interviews because people are hitting me up? In the back of my head, I'm thinking, wouldn't he be having those conversations with Andy? But from the sound of it, it just kind of sounds like he's just flying left, right, and center. Especially with the fact that he was like, he's not doing interviews and, that's not him. But he's been doing a whole lot of interviews. And I don't know, maybe it's because it's, well-known channels, of course. So he's taking the opportunity, because he did mention on the show that this is a win-win for him, because he's getting the exposure. He started out with little followers and now he's grown his followers, and this is a perfect and great exposure for him. Now, I don't know if he's kind of starting to warm up to this whole social media life, which he very much says he's not a part of. And I think there's a lot of maybe integrity kind of lacking. I feel like he's running ahead of himself, and if somebody is your guy, your friend, and they come up with this show, this idea, you didn't create this show. The show was presented to you. Why would you then go and distort that? Especially because you exposing the show like that could potentially damage the brand and could obviously ruin things for the next season for your friend. If that's your boy, then why would you take that risk? Like, why would you go and change that narrative? Like, you've kind of taken matters in your own hands. Like, that's the only grey area where I'm on the edge with the way Paul has handled everything, because I'm hearing what he's saying like it's a character rare, but at the same time I feel like he's kind of put his relationship with Andy on the line, and it's almost like you're talking about this whole calculated risk. So is that one of the calculated risks that you took into consideration, losing your friendship over fame or over exposure, over what exactly? But you guys go ahead and watch that video. It's very insightful. I don't know why people would still believe that the show is real. I think it's pretty obvious that it's not real. Excuse the sound difference, by the way, guys. He also did speak about his sister, because a lot of people were wondering whether his sister was real and why would his sister be fake, etc. He did clear the air on that. He did say that his sister does not even match the description who was on the show. His sister, I believe she's 5'4", and the sister on the show, his on-screen sister, was way much taller. And obviously people who do know him personally would know that. So there's a lot of things that he did clear up, basically. Another one being that it's not scripted. He also put up this post. As you can see, he's never dated Chioma. She's his on-screen girlfriend, and it was improvised. And if you know anything about acting, improvisation is basically just go along with the flow, and he even did a little illustration of that on the show. That was quite fun. I love improvising. It really does not make a difference. Personally, I am not down with the way Paul has gone about doing things, but I do feel like Paul is kind of carrying the aftermath. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's actually carrying the show right now, because we would have really forgotten about the show already. But because Paul keeps talking about it and doing his interviews, it's making us talk about it. So by the time season 2 comes, we're still in that motion of it. Whereas the other guys, I don't know what they're doing. I know Deborah, she's promoting her clothing line. I don't even know what Jamal he's doing anymore. He's kind of forgotten. And Chioma, she's doing photos. I don't know what. Obviously, they've got things in the pipeline, but I feel like they've kind of done with Blue Therapy now. So it's a good thing that Paul is doing this, if you think about the business aspects of things. I hope I made sense. But you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll speak to you guys in my next video. Don't forget to hit your notification bell so that you guys are notified whenever I post.